This question is from Michael. He's saying, how do we live without the ego in the Western world? When the ego seems to be all that which protects us. That's true, Michael. There is stuff that needs protection. How do you feel about stuff that needs protection? For a moment, ignore the fact that that which protects you also seems to ask for protection, in the sense, forget about what you get from it. Forget about the other side, that it offers you reciprocate protection. How do you feel when you have to protect something?
Cautious.
Cautious,
Insecure.
insecure,
Tensed.
tense, bound,
Fearful.
fearful. Of course, there is stuff that needs protection. Of course, all this around us needs protection. It can be destroyed. All right, let's destroy it. Let's figure out what all can we destroy here. Each one of you name one object that you can destroy here. Yes, starting from you. Look around and show me what can you destroy. Name one something.
Trees.
The tree, yeah. And? Does it take you so long to destroy? We are destroying all the time. Yes,
Animal
the animals there, and
system.
Stones.
this system, and
Tents.
the tents, they can be destroyed, and one object each, quickly.
The building.
The building, the vegetation,
Mountains.
the mountains,
Water.
the water.
The air.
Hint.
Microphone.
The microphone,
Camera.
the camera.
Silence.
Can you?
While making noise.
So there can be noise. That is something that you are putting in extra over the silence.
Air.
The air, yeah, of course you can destroy it.
Our own body.
Shoes.
The shoes, that camera, the bodies.
Our bodies.
Our bodies, yeah.
So all these would need
Protection.
protection, right? And yet there is something that you cannot destroy. What is it that you cannot destroy? All right, you named it. Silence and no, that too can be destroyed. You can destroy the sun. Man is becoming very powerful. Soon a day will come when you will have equipment enough to destroy the sun. Of course, you too would be destroyed in the process. But you can do that.
Nothing. If there is nothing, then nothing can be destroyed.
Everything contained in this space can be destroyed, right? Can you destroy the space itself? Everything contained in the space can be destroyed. And when you say it can be destroyed, that means a change in
Form.
form, color, name, etc. Can you destroy the space itself? Does that drop a hint on how to live as the more you are living as stuff that is prone to destruction, the more you will live in anxiety. And if you are living in anxiety, that clearly means that you are living attached to stuff that can be destroyed.
So can we care without being bounded or attached?
What do you mean by care? You mean the preservation of form? What exactly do you mean by care? What are you caring for? Now let me give you the simple and true meaning of care. To care for a sentient being is to help her or him discover her true nature. That is the only care possible. All other kinds of care are secondary. I'm not saying that you must not care for somebody's skin. But care for her heart first. Care for the truth first. And then care for the skin. Otherwise, you will have a corpse with glowing skin. How attractive is that? A mummy with impeccable skin. Care for the heart first, and then care for the skin. There must be a clear hierarchy. This hierarchy is called vivek or discretion. You must know how to differentiate. You must know what comes first. First of all, be with that requires no protection. And then you may indulge yourself in protecting this or that. Yes, a little plant in your house needs some water. Care for that plant. But before you take care of that plant, please be someone who can take care of things. Otherwise, today you will take care of that plant, and tomorrow, in a fit of rage, you will pick up the entire pot and break it. And does that not happen? Today you are cleaning your glassware, and tomorrow are you entitled to take care? Smiles in the night and slaps in the morning. Come on, we all know about it.
We should care without bounding ourselves. We should care without bounding ourselves.
It's not a question of condition. It's a question of priority. It's a question of being with the primary. And being with the primary is unconditional. Whether you care or you do not, it does not matter. What really matters is being with the primary. Care for that. And after that, if you feel that you must take care of a few things, go ahead and take care. And if you feel there is nothing to take care of, then ignore everything. Being with the primary is unconditional. That is something that you must do. That is something that is your nature. That is something that is not even a matter of doing. It's a matter of being. Be there. And after that, if you have to take care of the river, go ahead and take care. You will beautifully take care. And if you are not established in your true nature and you try to take care of the river, you will only take very cosmetic care. Your care will be very artificial. You will take care in order to extract something from the river. Does that not happen? Man says, let me take care of the ecosystem. And why do you want to take care of the ecosystem? So that you might not be harmed. In fact, in every single article that you read about global warming, you also read what global warming would do to mankind. Do you know what that implies? That means that if global warming were harmless to mankind, then man would have let global warming happen. Recently I read an article, and that article talked of how all the edible fish are reducing in numbers because of global warming. Now look at the violence contained in this. You do not want global warming because global warming is reducing the number of the fish that you eat. And there was an article about the Great Barrier Reef. It's close to Australia, you know of that. And one of the prominent things in the article was, very soon you won't get to see these spectacles. So preserve the reef because it is spectacular. Spectacular to whom? To the turtles? No, to the man. And that reminds me, there was an article on the turtle also, and it said, look at this grand and beautiful turtle. It's slowly becoming extinct. It is appearing grand and beautiful to whom? To man. Which means that if there are small, inconspicuous animals, unattractive pieces of flora and fauna, you won't bother for them. Such is our care. A little bacteria is going extinct. And that bacteria happens to be ostensibly no use to mankind. You will never read an article on that bacteria. I ask you, if a small, unattractive looking animal is reducing in number, would it receive the same attention as is received by the tiger? And you are so concerned about the tiger. Why are you so concerned about the tiger? Big, beautiful, grand, royal. That is the quality of our care. We would firstly care for that which affects us the most. So So we keep our house clean while dirtying the environment, the neighboring. Big countries dump their waste down the seas, or sometimes even export it to other countries. You know of that, right? Go and read what happens to all the electronic waste. That's the quality of our care. We care for the environment, and of course, the air quality in the Western world is better than that in the developing world. They care for their environment, only their own environment. That's the quality of ego-driven care. That's not really care. My little puppy, and I get him a sweater, nice and cozy and colorful, and of course cute. And how about all the stray dogs? They are not
Mine.
mine. We are not entitled to take care because we have not taken care of the primary. We have not taken care of the first. That is why when we try to take care, it's even bigger violence. The only one who is entitled to take care is the one who has been taken care of. First be taken care of. First leave yourself to the care of the Almighty. And then through you, the existence will find care. Otherwise you try to take care of your kids and you know what your kids come up as. And mother and father both are investing themselves fully in trying to take care of the kid. And now the kid is 14 and there is no bigger rascal than this kid. You know of that kid, right? And you took full care. You did the best you could do, and yet see what has come out of all your efforts. That is because you are not entitled to take care. That is because you have not fulfilled your primary responsibility. Fulfill your primary responsibility, and then whatever you will touch with compassion. Then you won't even need to touch. You will radiate compassion. Directly, indirectly, in all possible ways, you will be helping the universe. Even without knowing, you would be helping the universe. Your very breath will be a help. Your very being will be a help. You won't even need to do. Just your being will spread peace and benignness. Are you getting it? Be with that, where there is no care involved. Be internally very, very carefree. And then with these hands and these legs and this intellect, plunge yourself in taking care. But here remain very, very carefree. How do you remain carefree? By knowing that the space cannot be destroyed. All can be destroyed, but not the space. So I am carefree. The space wasn't made by man and hence won't be. I'm not man-made. Who will kill me? Bring your biggest tanks, lethal weapons, and atom bombs, and show me how you can kill space. Stand in front of them and declare, come on, kill me. But don't do that. And once you are there, then you are a messenger of care. Then your very sight heals. Then your absence heals as much as your presence. For truly, you are then never absent. Then you heal when you smile, and you heal even when you slap. But only then, not before that. You're talking of the Western world. Here in India, the saints, the mystics, the gurus, they have talked of being nischint. It's a beautiful word. Nischint. Without care. Guru Nanak talks of beparwahi. Without concern. Without care, without concern. In Studio Kabir, they were singing of Bulle Shah. What did he say? Bekhud
बेकैद बेखुद मैं
जिस तन इश्क दा सोज होइया
बेहोश हो गया बेहोश
बेखुद
बेहोश हो गया
and behosh. Look at the beauty of the words. Bekhud and behosh. Hosh refers to consciousness. Not conscious of things. Things are not in my mind. I'm not thinking of them. And bekhud, eyeless. I'm this, I'm that. It's such a burden, such a care. Who wants that? Chill. बेपरवाह, बेखुद, बेहोश, बेफिक्र. फिक्र ही सबको खा गई. फिक्र ही सबका पीर. फिक्र का फाका जो करे ताका नाम कबीर. And you are talking of being bothered with care, being bogged down with care. Kabir says, I have nothing to do with worries. Fikr ka faka means either of two things. One, I fast on care and concern, which means I don't eat them, I don't touch them. And the other meaning is, I actually eat them. Eat them in the sense of destroy them. I am the one who, so I am either the one who doesn't touch worries, or I am the one who simply eats them. Fikar ka faaka jo kare taka naam kabir. These are beautiful things, but they come only to those who first of all surrender to the space. Who are not enamored with In Australia, you have too many of these, right? Only these. In India, we have too many of these. People. Space. That's the great unifier, the great solvent, the great protector. The great originator, the great dissolver. Love towards fellow beings is a beautiful virtue, but it cannot come on its own. It can come only after you have love towards the truth. There are people who try to be loving towards fellow human beings or towards other bodies without firstly being loving with the truth. Their love is dangerous, very dangerous. If you are not in love with truth, the reality, godliness, then you cannot love the river, the trees, human beings, dog, anything, anybody. You will try to, but your attempt would be counterproductive. Conversely, if you are in love with God, then without even trying, without even doing, your being will radiate love towards the river, the plants, human beings, the dog, everybody. What is the mistake that we make?
Don't understand the truth first.
We try to love our kids without firstly being in love with God. It's a terrible mistake, and you are punished for it. I repeat this. If you do not love God, how will you love your wife? It's a total impossibility. But we attempt that impossibility and keep failing and never learning. A godless hand is a loveless hand. Don't touch anybody with that hand. hands that cannot be folded in front of the truth can never touch anybody with love.